Hello, welcome. Today, I want to talk to you about how to feed a crowd without any fancy cooking or the stress that can go into feeding a crowd. So, we are going to discuss several different items that you could use, main dishes, side dishes, and a few desserts as well to make this as simple as possible. I feed a crowd fairly often. Every year we have a cattle branding where I feed around 50-ish people, sometimes up to 60. We have birthday parties where we focus more on having people we love, relationships. And so our birthday parties are not fancy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's usually a crowd. So again, it can be anywhere from 30 to 60 people for those as well. So I do those, and I help feed the youth group every once in a while, a couple times a year. And so I've got some experience with feeding crowds, and I just want to give you some ideas today on how you can feed crowds without stressing out about it, without having to feel like you have to cook something fancy, but it still is fulfilling and great, and people will love it. So, starting with some of the main dishes, some of the ones that everybody probably thinks of, soups and stews, chili, those things, they stretch so easily. So, those are fabulous options. Super simple to pull together. Some of the main ones, the ones that I use on a regular basis, just even in my home, because they are simple, vegetable beef soup or stew, and chicken noodle soup and chili. Those are three go-to soup stews that we do in our home regularly because they are so simple to pull together. And so they work great for a crowd too, because again, fixing soup or chili, just easy to stretch it a long ways. And with that chili, you can turn around and double use that. So if you want to make a big batch of chili, but not really serve soup, a couple other ways that you can use chili is to have a baked potato bar. Baked potato bar, again, if you're fixing that chili, super simple to pull together. Baked potatoes. I'm going to tell you something. Don't use foil. It's a waste of time. You don't need it. So when I'm fixing baked potatoes for a crowd, what I will do is wash them and then poke them and then rub them in olive oil and coarse sea salt. And then depending on how many I need, you can bake them in a roaster in the oven or in the crock pot, or I also have an electric roaster and I've done that as well. So those are kind of the options for baked potatoes. Again, really simple, not as hard as it's. I don't know why baked potatoes feel hard. They feel hard a lot of times, and I don't do them super often because that mental thing, they feel hard. They're not. They really aren't. And so that makes a great one. It stretches that chili even farther, or we're going to talk about a couple other items that would work well for feeding a crowd, but they also work great for baked potato bar, and those are tacos and sloppy joes. Both of those meats are fabulous for putting on baked potato bars as well. Um, and are both super simple to pull together and to just make a lot of it. It's really easy. Tacos, add some refried beans to it to make it stretch even farther. And those are both really simple things to pull together, but feed a lot of people easily. Or you can serve them on baked potatoes to stretch them even farther. And speaking of chili and tacos, a couple other ways that you can use those as well is in pasta. So you can make a taco pasta or a chili mac and cheese. And I just make up my taco meat. So I use these in our home more than I do for a crowd, but in my home, I'm using leftovers. Take that leftover taco meat, cook up some pasta to al dente, not all the way cooked. Put that taco meat in there, maybe some salsa and some cheese, some shredded cheese, and then heat it all up, and you've got a brand new dish. And this is fabulous, again, for feeding a crowd because it pasta stretches things, doesn't it? And so that is a great option for that. And chili mac and cheese, same thing. Take that chili meat, Um, Cook some pasta to al dente, throw in the chili meat, throw in some cheese, and voila, you have chili mac and cheese. And so again, there's a few ways to use taco meat or your chili or sloppy Joe meat as well. So those are great ways, super simple meats to pull together, and then great ways to stretch them even farther if you don't want to serve just that straight meat. A couple other things, spaghetti, of course. Uh, Depending on that one, it depends. I don't use it a ton for crowds, mainly because when I'm feeding crowds and having to take my food somewhere else or do something, and it's not as easy to make ahead and transport. So I don't use it a ton for crowds, but if I'm feeding in my home, then I do. Or right in the same yard. We have a garage that we use in the same yard to host people. So I will do it for that then. Goulash. Very similar to your spaghetti, except for it's all together. So cook some noodles to al dente, throw in some diced tomatoes, some tomato sauce, and some browned hamburger, onions and garlic and salt, pepper, and you have goulash. Again, very easy to pull together. Chicken Alfredo. Chicken Alfredo can be super simple. Making up your own Alfredo sauce or just using the jars. If you're cooking for a crowd and you need it done quickly, I do a chicken Alfredo bake most of the time when I'm feeding a crowd. So what that is cooking up the noodles again to al dente, and then putting it in a 9x13 or bigger foil pan, whatever, and adding that Alfredo sauce, chicken, and some broccoli, and then topping it with mozzarella cheese and baking it. And it's again super fast to pull together, and it stretches. And people love chicken Alfredo. It's one of those things that a lot of people don't have a ton, and so it kind of feels fancy. Is it fancy? It's not hard. I shouldn't say it's not fancy. It's not hard. It doesn't take fancy cooking to make it happen. Nice and easy to pull together, but feels fancy. Throw in with all of those, with spaghetti, goulash, or chicken Alfredo, throw in some garlic bread. Get a loaf of bread, put some butter, some garlic salt on it, and bake it for 5-10 minutes. It doesn't take very long. Or buy the foil pack at the grocery store and throw that in the oven and call it good. Great way to fill those out. Chicken fried rice. I honestly have not done this one for a crowd yet. I saw it on my list of possible meals while I was getting ready for this, and I was like, oh, that would work for a big crowd. Rice goes a long ways. So with this, you cook up your rice ahead of time, have it kind of cooled off, and then you're going to add your chicken and some peas and onions and carrots. And I do scrambled eggs in mine as well, and then some soy sauce, or I use coconut aminos mainly for that rather than soy sauce, but either one works there. And that's all it takes for that. So again, very simple, doesn't take a lot to pull that together, and can stretch a long way. And one that I use quite often, in fact, this is our go-to branding meal, is beef and noodles. Again, simple. So cook a roast or stew meat. Stew meat works really well. This is a great pack for this. Using stew meat because then you don't have to shred it like you do with the roast, but roast works as well. It's not as expensive to buy the roast as it is it already put into the stew meat. Cook that. I typically cook that overnight if I'm serving it for lunch. So if you're serving it for supper, cook it all day and just cook it with some onions and some salt and pepper and maybe a little bit of beef broth to give it a little bit more flavoring. And then shred that. And when that's getting close to done, or as somebody is shredding it, then cook the noodles to al dente again. Many of these are that way because you're going to then combine. Cook some egg noodles. I love using, like, if I'm using homemade is the best, but I don't make homemade noodles like ever. So the Kluski or Kluski, however you pronounce it, just dried ones are great. Amish noodles in the refrigerated or freezer section, you can get the egg noodle, like Ream's egg noodles, I think it is. All of those work fabulously for this. So cook those to al dente. Then when that's done, strain them and put all the roast and the noodles back together in the crock pot or the roaster, whatever you cooked it in, and beef broth if there's not any in there. Maybe mix up roux to make more of a gravy in there, and salt and pepper and onions, and we've got beef noodles. We love serving this over mashed potatoes. Is our favorite way to serve that. It doesn't require it. So that's a good one that stretches, and it's a favorite. It's a go-to for us a lot. A couple breakfast ideas are sheet pan omelets. This is a great way to make up a lot of eggs at one time. You get a sheet pan, and I think, if I remember correctly, I fit 18 eggs on one sheet pan when I'm scrambling it and making sheet pan omelet. Very versatile. Throw in your favorite toppings. I typically do onions and green and red peppers. And then a lot of times I'll do a meat, but not always. Sometimes I do not do a meat. If I do a meat, sausage is an option. Bacon bits is an option. And when I use bacon bits, I use the bacon bit, the store-bought bacon bits. The real bacon, not the soy stuff, real bacon, but do that. And you can also do steak chunks in it as well for steak and egg omelet. And then put in some cheese or top it with cheese, either way, your seasonings, and bake that. Another one is pancakes. Pancakes, obviously, because you have pancake feeds all the time. They work great for feeding a crowd. They just are pretty quick to cook up and go a long ways. You can choose what you want to serve with it for more of a protein to go with it if you're needing that. Scrambled eggs are easy and quick and easy to do in big bulk. Sausage, if you can do that in the oven. Bacon you can do in the oven as well on sheet pans, and so you can get more done quickly. So those are both another one for that if you happen to have a stone grill or some type of flat outside grill. Bacon cooks up really fast on that. Near as big of a mess to clean up inside as well. So those are a couple of breakfast ideas. And a couple more roast ideas. A cowboy beef and one that we do. It is just a roast with a can of baked beans. And you can serve that over rice. You can serve it with a bun, either way. So that's a super duper easy. You can put some barbecue sauce in with it if you want some extra flavor. And then barbecue beef sandwiches or barbecue pork, whichever pork. Super. Just put a roast in and put some barbecue sauce or barbecue rub on it. And serve it with your buns and barbecue sauce. Good to go. So those are most of my main dish ideas for feeding a crowd. A lot of stress without a lot of fancy cooking or anything. Some of them feel fancy, which is a bonus. Some side dishes to make things super easy and not have to spend a lot of time on that. We talked about the garlic bread for some of those things. It's a great one. We talked about serving some of them over rice. Another great one to do. Rice is easy to cook up. And let's see, a couple other ideas. Just bread with your soups and stews, just dinner rolls or bread works great. Lettuce salad. Lettuce salad is a go-to for me. We have it actually every day in our home pretty much when I'm not serving breakfast for dinner, because it's just easy. You have your lettuce salad, put out a couple dressings. If you want to put out a couple toppings to go with it, great. But it doesn't take a lot of prep work to pull that off. Easy prep or low prep veggies and fruits are fabulous as well. I do apples or oranges quite a bit. Just slice them. They're easy to do. And let's see, what are some other ones that I can't remember on fruits? Veggies. You got your baby carrots that don't take, snap peas, things like that don't take hardly any prep work. You can get some of the ones that take a little bit of prep work, and they still don't take a lot. At our branding, fruit tray and veggie tray are always on the list because they're single ingredients, so you don't have to worry about allergies hardly at all and easy to pull together. It doesn't take a lot of prep work. Your berries just take washing on. Chips is another one. Just throw in some chips. People love chips. They don't eat them very often. And just a few desserts that are pretty easy to pull off. Cookies, always cookies. Honestly, if you're short on time and you're wanting to keep things really easy, buy the frozen ones that are already done. They Some of the ones that I get now are pretty cheap and really worth the money because of the time. So cookies are a great one. Oreo fluff. Oreo fluff is so easy. It's what Cool Whip and vanilla pudding mix, I think, and your crushed Oreos, and it goes a long ways. That's a really quick, easy one, and it's different. It's not something everybody serves. Or ice cream sundaes. Just have yourself some ice cream and a few toppings, and let people have ice cream sundaes and make their own dessert, and people will love it. It's fabulous. So those are a few of my ideas on how to serve a crowd without a lot of stress, out a bunch of fancy cooking, but yet being able to totally pull it off and easily and make your food stretch for all of the people that you're going to feed. This works fabulously for church events, for birthday parties, for just a bunch of different get-togethers. If you're feeding a youth group, this is, some of the ideas that I use for that as well. So I hope this is helpful. If you would like to hear more about foods that I feed my family, every week I send out a new menu. Look in the description or in the comments, and you will find a link where you can get the first menu sent to you immediately, and then you will receive a new menu every single Sunday in your inbox. All of them are simple. I try to keep things as simple as possible. I like to feed my family well without a lot of stress. So that's the kind of menus you will get from me. Look for that totally free in the comments or in the description, and we will see you next time. Have a fabulous day. Bye.